Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Manufacturing Cleanup, how Odoo digitalized a manual Philippine business. I am Sabrina. I am currently a business advisor here at Odoo APAC, and I will be today's moderator. So, what do we have in store for today? We'll get things started by giving you a little bit of a background of what Odoo is. We'll discuss the impact of manual manufacturing today, and then we'll deep dive into a case study and later on show how Odoo's solutions and product efforts translate into a demo, and later on we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. So, let's get started. What is Odoo? Odoo is an all-in-one management software. We are an ERP tool that we provide to companies that allow them with their day-to-day operations. So we don't just handle one aspect of the business, we handle the end-to-end operations of a company. A little bit of history. So we've been in the industry for over 20 years and counting now. We are headquartered in Belgium and we have 19 offices worldwide, with our 20th office opening in the Philippines. And we currently have 15 million users and counting. So here's a sneak peek into the clientele that we work with. So we work with small businesses, micro businesses, all the way up to small, medium enterprises and large corporations. From the companies that you see here on the screen, you can tell that they come from different backgrounds and different industries as well. This is a testament as to how flexible the system could be depending on what industry you come from and regardless of what size. So now, let's get into it. When it comes to starting a business, it's quite difficult. However, sustaining the business and making it a legacy of yours, that's even more difficult. In this day and age of digitalization and automation, it's important to utilize these tools to your advantage. So now, how can Odoo help your business? So, we provide an all-in-one solution. We provide you with tools that are fully integrated with one another, as compared to a standalone software, wherein these softwares specialize only on one aspect of things. Alright, so they may only be focusing on inventory and accounting, and you don't have that integrated feature, which means you don't have one source of truth when it comes to your data. As compared to having it all in one platform, all of these modules and applications talk with one another. So, what does that mean? When you create a sale, automatically it will deduct in inventory. Similarly as well, once you ask the client to pay, it will also reflect in accounting, so that integrated feature allows you to run your business more seamlessly. So, what are the applications that we are providing? So as you can tell, we cover again the end-to-end operations of the company. We're not just focusing on one module and one application. We cover the finance side of things, operations, and even the manufacturing side of things. Now, let's look into the impact of manual manufacturing today. In the Philippines, majority of operations are still being done manually. What's the impact of this in our businesses? First of all, there is a latency gap. There's a reactive versus proactive way of working. Most businesses will only jump into a solution when a problem has occurred, as compared to more advanced businesses who utilize digitalization and automation for their processes. They prevent these problems from even happening in the first place. Second, when it comes to labor productivity, you have to understand that manual work is capped by human physical limits. That means your encoder can only encode so much data within a particular amount of time. As compared to having systems in place, some of these manual tasks can be automated, so then you can focus on more high value adding tasks. And lastly, there is a fragmented visibility. Manual paperwork delays the consolidation of data. That would imply that the perspective of a purchasing manager may be different from that of the warehouse staff, given that you don't have one source of truth when it comes to your data. So let's see how this impacts a real business. So now let's get into the case study of SC Corporation. What are their current manufacturing challenge? So there are three to name a few. First would be there is inventory inaccuracy. There is a discrepancy between Excel records and the actual stock on hand. The second would be regarding production silos. There is a lack of communication between the warehouses and other staff members in the company. And lastly would be zero traceability. There is inaccurate tracking when it comes to using manual paperwork as the basis of our data. All right? So, how do we solve this? So before I translate this into the demo proper, let me tell you guys what are some of the modules that we will be working with. First would be on the manufacturing module. It will allow you to see a real-time monitoring of the production. Later on, we'll see how the inventory module allows you to track the stock on hand that you have and at the same time trigger automated replenishment, and how this will translate into the purchase module wherein we can track all of the purchases that we've had in the past. And lastly, of course, would be the dashboards module, providing you with consolidated data for your company. So let's get into it. The demo proper. So here in the demo, I'm going to walk you through how you could utilize our tool into running your daily operations. So let's get started. So for SC Corporation, the first step obviously would be to create a sale. When companies and clients come to us, the first step is always to create a quotation. You have to understand that furniture is only built when there is an order at hand. So we have our very first customer coming into us, customer ABC. So they ordered the custom conference table, and they're ordering 55 pieces of this one. So by simply clicking on this item and indicating the amount, it will automatically reflect here in our quotation. Then we can also adjust the payment terms here. Let's say they're a good client of mine, so I'm gonna make it 21 days, quickly save it up here, and I can just simply send it to their email directly through the Odoo system. Odoo will then generate this as an email template that we have, and of course convert it into a PDF and send it over directly to our client. And just like that, we've sent our quotation to company ABC. So now, company ABC comes calling me and tells me, okay, Sabrina, we're good to go with the 55 custom conference table. We can proceed. So I'm just going to simply click confirm on the top left. And as you can tell, just like that, it will convert into a sales order automatically. At the top here, we can see that the system has automated 3 smart buttons. We have here the delivery receipt, the purchase, and the manufacturing. Let's get into it one by one. So first would be on the manufacturing, since we have to get things started in terms of production. So as you can tell, the sales order is connected also to the manufacturing order. Again, you have that seamless integrated feature allowing you to track the entirety of the process. Now, the thing is, I can't quite start with regards to my production because I can see here that for the conference table metal legs, I don't have enough stock. In fact, it says here not available. So I'm going to exit my sales order application and go to my purchasing module. So now, change of perspective. So I'm going to be the purchasing staff. So given that I can see that we do not have enough stock, I'm going to reorder it here. All right, and as you can tell, we already have here the automated purchase order. This purchase order is connected to our sales module here, or sales order rather, with the 55 orders. So I'm going to go back here to the PO, and I'm going to send this RFQ to my supplier. So I'm going to send it, and just like that, similar to how the sales order application works, I am going to send this directly to my supplier. So I'm going to put my supplier's email over here, and I can send it directly to him. As you can tell, when it comes to transacting not just with internal parties, but even with external parties, you can do it here within Odoo. All right, so now my supplier calls me and tells me, okay, Sabrina, please tell your purchase staff we are confirming this order and we will be delivering this to you. So I can just simply click on confirm order. And then as you can tell, it is already in the purchase order stage. Now, I'm going to exit this tab from the purchase module, and a few days passed, and I'm now going to receive these raw materials, right? So I'll go to the inventory and I'll see here that the warehouse staff, so let's say I'm already the warehouse staff, I'm going to receive this 220 units that we have ordered from our supplier. And if you look closely into this delivery receipt, you can see that it's connected once again to the PO. So if I need to trace back where did this order come from, I can see that it came from PO number 12. So to confirm that yes, indeed, we have received this 220 units of conference table metal legs, I'm simply going to click on validate. All right, so I'm going to simply click on validate, and just like that, it's already done, which means this 220 units is already in my stock. Now, let's revisit the manufacturing module, because at this point in time, we've ordered, we've already processed the order of client, and at the same time, we've already ordered the missing raw materials. Now we can move forward with actually manufacturing the product. So I'm going to go to the manufacturing module. In the manufacturing module, once I open it, you'll be greeted by this interface. In this interface, you can see the different work centers that we have. Work centers refer to the stations that you have in your factory that processes the different steps of your product. So I'll click here on top, operations, and then go to manufacturing orders to see what are the pending orders we have to process for the day. And as you can tell, we've already had the 55 custom orders reflect directly here for our manufacturing app. So now we can start the manufacturing, because as you can tell, we already have the complete set of raw materials. So I'm going to simply click on plan, all right, to get things started, and then we can start the production. Now, before I start the production, a little background of what we're seeing here on our screen. So this is what we call the manufacturing orders profile. The bottom here is our components, which basically refer to the ingredients or the parts of this custom conference table. The work orders, on the other hand, refer to the steps or the processes to be able to build this custom conference table. Now, to get this started, I can simply click on Start over here. That's one way to track your manufacturing order, but let's look at it from a different perspective, the shop floor. So here on the top right, we see here the shop floor button. So I'm going to click on this one, and it will redirect us to the shop floor. And as you can tell, we have here our manufacturing order and the different steps that we have. So I'm simply going to click on this step, and as you can tell here at the top, it redirects us to the core board composing machine, which is our first workstation. Now I'm going to simply click on mark as done once this is completed, and as you can tell, it moves from one stage to the other. Next, it would be on the quality check area. So to get things started, I can just simply click on start and of course get the process running. Once this is completed, again, very simple. You can just simply click on done once it is completed, and again, the work order will move to the next stage, which is the sanding area. Now here we see here there are two steps, so I'm gonna start on this one first, so to get it running. And as you can tell, everything you do within the shop floor, it will also reflect here, and at the same time reflect also here in our actual manufacturing order. So whichever you prefer, whichever method or interface you'd like to work with, you have both options available to you. So again, that reflects the flexibility of the system. Now we'll go back to the shop floor. Let's say we are already done with the final sanding. I'm gonna mark this as done and then get our last sanding panels moving as well, and then mark it as done. Okay, now I'm gonna go back here to the overview, and as you can tell, we already can proceed to the assembly area. So I'm going to click on this one and go to our 55 units and get this started. Now, the thing is, I would like to close production, but once I do so, it's going to give me a prompt that it is an invalid operation. Now you may be asking why? We're already in the last step, right? So I'm gonna go back here, and as you can tell that for this specific step, we do have quality checks involved. Quality checks implies that before you can close the production, you have to check, are your materials, or rather are your products, up to the standard that we would like. So I'm gonna simply click on quality check. And here it says here we have to do the manufacturer verification of 55 units. So I'm going to click on a picture, and I'll be clicking on this one, for example. and I'm going to upload it. All right, to click on validate. So again, by validating, which means we are confirming that this one is complete, but we're also asking for a second picture. So I'm going to upload again another picture. All right, so I'm just going to upload it here and click on validate. And just like that, we have already finished the quality check. Okay, by uploading this one, this would imply that we have already indeed passed the quality check. So now we can close the production. And just like that, we've completed one cycle of this custom conference table. Now I'm going to go back to our manufacturing order, and as you can tell, the status for every step is finished. At the same time, every single time we use the start or the timer button, Odoo tracks real time how long you're taking for each step. This is good data and insight for you, especially when you're trying to identify which parts are a bottleneck in my process. That way, you'll be able to make data-driven decisions to ensure which ones can be improved or which ones need cutting down on time. All right, so just like that, we've already completed the 55 units for our customer. Now I'm going to go back to our sales order to see the status of this one. So you can see that the 55, it's no longer a red button, it's already a green button, which implies that we do have enough to deliver and fulfill the customer order. So now I'm going to click on delivery, which means I'm going to be processing this already and delivering it to our client. Now the thing is, my factory, my truck is quite small. So I'm going to deliver 20 first because they don't all fit. So I'm going to click on 20, I'm going to save this, and I'm going to click on validate. Again, I am only inputting the amount that I am going to be delivering. So by clicking on validate, all right, okay, so by clicking on validate, it implies that I am only ordering, or rather I'm only delivering this 20 number of units. All right, so if this one does not process, we could always just adjust the number, for example. So quickly save this and click on validate to fulfill the order. All right, so by clicking on validate, we are implying that we have already delivered the 55 number of units of conference table. Please take note, like what I mentioned earlier, you can also process split deliveries in the system. No need to be able to process everything in just one delivery receipt. Again, it reflects a very flexible system. And just like that, we have already completed the 55 orders of company ABC. Okay, so now in terms of fulfilling the payment, I can just simply click on create invoice. I can click on a regular invoice. Take note, when you are invoicing, you have two options. You could always invoice the entire amount, or you can just invoice a down payment or just a partial amount. So with the 55 units here and the total amount, if everything checks out, I'm just gonna click invoice date as today, quickly save this, and then confirm it as well. Once it is posted, I am just going to process the payment by simply clicking on pay. You click the journal account that you would like it to fall under. At the same time, it's payment methods, so everything is all clear to me. So I'm just simply going to click on create payment, and I've already fulfilled the payment of my customer. Now, if you go back here to sales order number 8, as you can tell, all the smart buttons at the top, we not only have the manufacturing, the purchase order, and the delivery, we also have the invoices. So I'm showing this because you want it that when you're running a business, everything you need is in one place. So for example, if company ABC comes to us at any point in time, they want to know the status of their manufacturing or their delivery, or you want to see what the progress has been. So you have to check on the purchase module. If we've started, everything is all in one place. That is the value of having an integrated system. Now, to wrap it all up, I want to show you quickly the dashboards module. The dashboards module essentially is a reporting tool in Odoo. It just consolidates all of the data that your system were to have. So all of the data that you see here in this module, it's going to be collated from the data that you are inputting in the system. So how real-time your data is and how accurate your data is dependent on the information you input in your system. So let's go through it quickly. So for example, for sales, you get to see the number of quotations you have, the orders, the revenue, the average orders. In terms of product as well, you get to see which one is your best seller, the best category, and which ones is your best seller in terms of revenue and in terms of units sold at the same time, because we know that those two things are not the same thing. Additionally, as well, we get to see also the warehouse daily operations in terms of your productivity, your operational analysis, at the same time, your warehouse metrics, and your purchase and vendor. So your purchase value, your average order value, number of orders, and whatnot. Because at the end of the day, you also want to understand your buying habits as a company. And for manufacturing as well, you want to also understand how many manufacturing orders you have running, the quantity produced, and of course, the average cost per unit and whatnot. So again, all of this data is gathered from the data you input in the system. At the end of the day, this tool will give you data to help you make data-driven decisions for your company. Because we don't just want to run our company based on vibes. You want to run it based on actual information and actual data that you have inputted in the system as well. All right. So with that, this wraps up our demo proper. I'm going to go back here and see how can this benefit, or rather, how did this benefit SC Corporation at the end of the day? So first and foremost, there is a result of higher output. Naturally, if you're automating part of your tasks, then your staff can deal again with more high value adding tasks, allowing you to have a more productive sales cycle or a more productive operational cycle. Next would be on eliminated waste. If you track your inventory accurately and at the same time you've identified your reordering points or you only reorder based on a timely manner, this will allow you to manage the inventory that you have. Next would be on faster delivery, because again, you have a cohesive system where all the stakeholders are communicating in one platform. Then you have again a better cycle time and at the same time a more efficient system. And lastly, real-time accuracy when it comes to data and it comes to reporting. Nobody wants to make decisions based on gut feel. At the end of the day, we're talking about a real company. We're talking about businesses, and you do not make decisions, again, based on vibes. You want to make it on data. With that being said, this concludes the case study portion, and you've already witnessed how through the demo, how it could help your business. Now let's get into the questions. So again, if you have any questions, just keep them coming in the YouTube comments. All right. So I think there's been a couple already. So I'm going to answer quite a few. So the first one is, can I set specific payment terms and also pricing for my existing customers? Absolutely. So I'm going to quickly show you guys. So for example, here when you create a sales order, as you can tell, the payment terms, you could always choose it depending on who the customer is. It is not fixed. If you want to set default payment terms as well, we can do so, but rather the system is very flexible. Next, can work orders start simultaneously? Yes, they can. We can have it one at a time or at the same time. We know that when it comes to manufacturing, there's multiple ways to manufacture your products. So of course, this system offers that flexibility. Next, how do you fix the error prompt with the 20 units for delivery? So with regards to that, you have to understand that every system, we configure it for the client, okay? So some clients, they don't want it to push through because they want it, fixed amount of orders before the delivery comes. But in this, which happened in this scenario, but if you would want that flexibility of split orders, you may do so. So if actually we'll quickly show it as well here. Maybe we'll have one example. If I click on this one, If you'll see here in the prompt, there is a prompt here in terms of settings wherein we have the split. So if there are already planned split deliveries, you may do so as well. Again, Odoo is very flexible, so the way one company sets up their database, it can be quite different from how another company sets up their database. So if you'd like to see how it's going to be set up for your own database, feel free to book a demo with me afterwards. Next, so Odoo works based on your workflow and not just adjusting the system. So it is, we have both options. Odoo already has out-of-the-box solutions which your company can adapt, which means we will be providing or rather suggesting a workflow for your company. So if your company is just starting out and you're quite flexible in terms of your processes, feel free to check out the workflow that we have by default. But if you have your own process and there are certain things that you'd like customized, or if there are certain features here that you saw that we didn't really get to touch up on, we can definitely discuss it in a demo with me. Can you show the accounting side for the manufacturing? So for accounting, I can just quickly show you the dashboard. I don't want too many spoilers because once we discuss this, it's a whole story. There's a lot of features to talk about here, but here's a sneak peek into the accounting module. You have to understand that it is a comprehensive tool, so there's a lot to get into it. But you have to understand, like what I mentioned earlier, everything is integrated with one another. So every time you trigger an invoice, it will reflect in accounting. Similarly, every time you trigger a billing from a purchase order, it will also reflect in accounting. All right. Next question. For my finished products, am I able to set up the lot or batch numbers in manufacturing? Yes, you may. So when it comes to tracking inventory, there are actually 3 ways in how we can track our inventory. First is by quantity. So simply what I did here, just noting how many quantity or how many we have manufactured. The second would be lot numbers, like what you suggested here. So the lot numbers are basically tracking that batch that we may have received or that batch that we have manufactured. The last way to track inventory is with regards to unique serial numbers. So this one is being utilized for high value items wherein you want one product to be associated with that one ID, aka the serial number. And that way you are able to track your inventory. So again, those are the 3 main ways of how to track inventory using the inventory module here at Odoo. All right. So again, I received the same question. So can we do partial deliveries to client? Yes, absolutely. So again, the split option when it comes to delivery in the delivery side for customers, we may do so. And actually, in fact, bonus knowledge, you can also do that for the purchasing side. So when we are receiving from suppliers, and let's say we are receiving it partially, we can also do that and have split delivery orders or delivery receipts to process it, and everything will still be connected to the same purchase order. All right. So with that being said, unfortunately, we have run out of time. I must have to end here. So for those questions that are unanswered, or if you'd like to discuss more about your workflow, feel free to book a demo with me or shoot me an email at scan@odoo.com. I've worked with a lot of manufacturing companies, logistics, you name it, furniture and trading and whatnot. So I'd love to hear more about your business and how we can help you. At the end of the day, it's not just about, making your business the number one in the industry. We want you to be able to also sustain your business in the long run. So with that being said, thank you again so much, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.